Hello, everybody. Welcome to Who's the Bee? Oh, it's the show starring Jackie Zabrowski and...
Kara Klank.
But
I'm
also-
here coming to you live from our satellite office in my parents' house in Connecticut.
Ooh, and also starring everybody that writes and calls in. Yes, it is the advice show that you come to because we're here to tell you who's the bee, who's not the bee, you the bee, we the bee. We don't know the bee until we find out the bee's tuition. And we will be finding out today on this episode, but not before we talk about whatever's going on in our regular lives, Kara. Kara, we miss you. You're over on the East Coast. You know, we call it the best coast for a reason, and we miss you over here, Kara.
I know. I was just looking at looking at the schedule. How many more episodes will I be here? Only a few more. And then
Kara, come
we'll
back,
be back
and you're gonna be could see I was wrong, and I need
and
you
I just
to come
can't
back
live
to
without
California.
I think like the next 4 eps, and then I'm back in the studio with you.
See this, I need your essence. I need, honestly, to be 26% more of a bee. I need your presence in my life. I feel like you are the MSG that I'm missing. I'm sorry, MSB. And that's what I am missing in my life.
I had to get a little bit BE. I hate this. Ugh, can YouTube just stop being so prude? I had to sort of give it to my dad a little bit this morning.
Oh yeah.
So you guys all know I just posted recently a clip of Celine Dion on the Ellen DeGeneres program a long time ago. And Ellen DeGeneres was like giving her crap for her son having long hair. And Celine was like, my son makes choices about what he wants for his own hair.
Yeah.
And he decides. And
God, Celine Dion is perfect,
I
by
don't
the way.
think it matters. And like I posted it and was like, me and Celine, same struggles, right?
Same.
Like, because my son has long hair. He wears it in a bun on top of his head.
Are
That's
your
how he likes
parents
it.
flipping out about it?
That's how he likes it. No, my mom doesn't care. My dad. So I'm showing him something on my phone and he swipes, rude, and he sees some photos that Oscar asked me to take of him with a little flower behind his ear. And he goes, can I ask you something? Do you wish Oscar was a girl? And I go, Dad, I'm letting my kid be exactly who he wants to be.
The kid he wants to be.
He asked me to take this picture of him with the flower. He got the flower. He put it behind his ear. He said, take a picture of me. That's why I have those pictures.
Yeah.
And I go, I don't know why you're so hung up on it. He goes, what makes you think I'm hung up on it? I go, you make comments about his hair all the time.
Yeah.
And he goes, I just think it's inappropriate for a boy to have a bun. And I was like, you boomers are so out of freaking
Do you know what
touch.
the word inappropriate means,
I go,
Daddy?
Inappropriate. Yeah, I was like,
What is like literally, genuinely, what is inappropriate about Oscar having a bun on his head?
I said, what's inappropriate about that? I'm like talking quietly, even though he's deaf as hell. He cannot hear me right now.
But that's
I should just talk my real voice. So I go, I don't know what I think you're using the word inappropriate wrong. He goes, well, let's just say it's about as appropriate as me wearing a dress. And I go, and if that made you happy, I wouldn't blink.
Appropriate.
I wouldn't blink. And he was like, well, some other people would. And I was like, well, I don't care about them. And I don't really care about you and my son's hair.
Listen to yourself. Do you know what the word inappropriate means? That is such a crazy, over-dramatic way to describe your child having a bun.
I know. In my head, I'm like, Sikh men don't cut their hair. Like samurai soldiers have from history have always had like long hair. Tons of cultures men have long hair.
Yeah.
Like, you're just talking about.
I'm sorry, didn't your Jesus Christ also have long hair? Like, I just feel like, right? It didn't, it's just.
I mean, we're Jewish, but yes.
Oh, sorry, not yours.
No,
the other people's Jesus Christ.
Yes.
But I'm just saying that there are, it's like, there's the whole, like, the Samson thing. Literally, the only thing I know from the Bible is that there's, like, he had the long hair and then they cut the hair and he lost his power. That's like the only thing I know.
It's just
that's
like
crazy, Kara.
So crazy. And you know what? I would have really unleashed on him, but he's like so old and dumb at this
what are
point
you gonna
about
do?
anything
Yeah.
like this. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not really going to like listen to your parenting advice about anything. So
I just hope, and I'm sure that he's not because you would put an end to it, but I just hope he's not spewing that towards Oscar. And I imagine you would never let that happen.
No. They're rarely alone together, and
it's for the best. For the best.
No.
Oh, because of the inappropriateness of his bun? Is that why they can't be alone together? Oh, it's too inappropriate. Oh, God. What would happen? Oh, the bun's going to jump off of his head and start touching me in my balls. You know, I don't know what the bun's going to do.
The boomers have all kinds of like really weird, like obviously retro opinions about like, that if someone dyes their hair like a color, that it makes them a certain kind of person. And I'm always like, they're like, because my cousin had her hair like a purple color at one point, and they were like, oh, well, and she finally dyed her hair back to her regular color. And I was like, oh, was that affecting you guys really a lot? Was that hard on you? Like, and I just like fuck with them because I'm like, why do you give a shit that my cousin who's in her 30s had her hair purple?
Yeah.
I thought that, like, I don't know.
You know that there are other issues, right? You know there are other things that are going on right now, but you got to lose yourself in that. This is the problem with some of them that retire, where you're like, maybe just go back to work. Maybe you should just keep working. I think that maybe. Now, I was talking to someone the other day, and they asked me quite a question. This is part of our unsolicited advice, even though technically this was solicited, but it was more of an offhanded comment that someone said to me over the weekend. Someone asked me, should my partner be allowed to give me criticism on my cooking? I'm cooking for everyone. If she wants it different, she can make it differently, but she never cooks. So was essentially what her question was to me. And how do you feel? Now, Kara, you are the primary cook in your household?
Yes,
I would assume.
Begrudging cook. I'm a cook. I'm a cook who doesn't really get that much joy out of cooking, but I do it because, you know, you have to feed people.
You have to feed the family.
He cooks sometimes, but it's mostly me.
Okay.
And I will say, how is it? But the other thing is, so if you invite criticism and he'll go, I love it. Or he'll go, it's not my favorite one we've had. Right. We also do kits. We famously do a kit that I will not say their name. I will not say their name because they do not pay me for this endorsement. Although if you're a Tommy, you know I obviously endorse Home Chef. Okay, anyway. But like we use various meal kits, honestly. We've done Home Chef. We've done a bunch of different ones. And I use meal kits. So it's like, if it's not good, I don't take it personally because I made it the way they said to make it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like
makes sense.
I over seasoned it, you know?
Right.
So I could see if it's like your creation. But that said, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I would say, if you're not saying how is it, then I would not want to be inviting criticism.
Exactly. If you're opening up the world of feedback and if you're asking the question, I feel you should then be open to receiving the feedback. And I am also one of those chefs, Kara, but that is because I don't know if it's just my anxiety disorder that I'm immediately just like, is it okay? It's not the best I've ever made. Did you like it? Did you like I immediately have to. And maybe it's because I'm right now reading or I'm listening to Liza Minnelli's audiobook. And she even said like after Liza with an L, which to her was her greatest performance, there's a video of her getting off stage just being like, was it all right? Was I okay? Was I good? And so it's like, it is a natural, if you are, you know, any kind of a people pleaser, that you are going to do, is it okay? Is it any good?
Yeah.
But I also understand if you receive negative, harsh feedback and you are the one that is making the meals for the family all of the time, then I would probably, now I feel, Kara, this is more an issue that I feel she was asking more from an unseen labor conversation, that it was coming as opposed to like it being just the cooking. I feel like there was the aspect of she never does it. So like there was that little like barb in there of, so if you wanted to do it, then you should be making the meals. And I felt like that was way more glaring than the first part of the question of like, oh, it sounds like you wish your wife did more of the cooking and or helped you a little bit more with it, is what I'm hearing in this problem. You know what I mean?
Yes, because my thing is if you're not doing anything to prepare meals, if you're a person who gets to sit down every day and have your dinner served to you, you get what you get and you don't get upset. Unless you're like, hey, I sort of hate meatloaf, so if you're going to make that, I'll just do my own dinner tonight or something. Like, or whatever. But like, beyond that, it's like you get what you get and you don't get upset. If it's kind of like you've just fallen into those roles and you are secretly kind of like,
disliking
how dare you?
that?
Why don't you do something? Why don't you make something?
That's why I felt like this was way beyond just the cooking conversation, because I enjoy the feedback. Of course, again, if my husband ate it and went, this is shit, which she would never say, yeah, I'm going to be a little upset about that. But it is all in how you receive and give the feedback.
Right.
But I do want to know what he likes, because I like to make what he likes. And I want to know.
And I guess you could say, are you open to me giving you some feedback on the meal?
Love that, Kara. I love that if someone doesn't ask, is this okay? Asking permission before you just throw the feedback at them, also clutch.
And then start with what's good. The potatoes were perfection. The Brussels sprouts, delicious.
Yes.
You know, the meat, me personally, I like it a little bit more well done or less well done or whatever. I don't know.
I love it. You don't know anything
then you could
about
like go
meat,
into
Kara.
your. Yeah, I do.
You know a little bit about meat.
I used to eat my meat like medium or medium rare.
What? You ate it bloody?
Yeah. I would get medium rare. I like the way I used to eat steak as a child was like honestly borderline. Like I was trying to get a foodborne illness. Like I liked my steak so rare when I was younger, but I would also eat it with wishbone Italian dressing. Like I don't, you know, nothing was normal. But yeah, I would just like, and I would do that also.
You
like,
used to eat your steak with wishbone Italian dressing?
which I believe is used as a marinade for some people.
It
have told me that it's also a
for
marinade.
like chicken. Sure, no, for sure. You could definitely use it as a marinade. I
just loved it.
Wow.
I can taste it in my mouth right now.
Wow.
I can taste a piece of steak right now with dipped into a wishbone Italian dressing, and I'm loving it.
Do I dare say you're the bee of this episode, Kara? That you're dipping, that you used to dip your steaks. Maybe this is why you're a vegetarian.
Not at like a steakhouse. I'm talking about the steak my mom would make.
The like overcooked,
it wasn't like at a steakhouse. I was like, please bring me your finest wishbone in a ramekin, please. No.
If you have it as well.
No. And I like to dip in all different, like all the Wellington sauce, like all the sauces that they have for meats and stuff. I like a sauce. But I'm just talking about at our family table, if they made steak, I would be like dip. But listen,
sorry, not to call you out here. I couldn't really let that fly by me, you know?
Look, I'm thinking about it because I'm at this November, I think I'm 19 years vegetarian.
What are we going to do for your 20th? Do we have a pig roast or do we have a big impossible pig roast?
I'm almost thinking after my 20th that I start eating meat a little bit again.
Oh, so you want to go the opposite. You want to start bringing it back in. What are we starting with?
I don't know. I think I would probably have bacon first, to be honest.
Yeah. It's just going to hurt your stomach though. Like that's the thing.
You think?
I feel like it's just going to end up hurting your belly and you're going to be like, oh, this is why I don't eat it. Just because it's so greasy and you're not used to it.
Okay, well, what do you think I should start with?
I feel like that's why you go back in. Like you're always talking about how for Jared's birthdays, you take him to a nice steakhouse. I feel like you go to one of those nice steakhouses.
And eat nice steak?
And you bring your own wishbone Italian dressing with you.
As an adult, I never ate it with that. I was talking when I was like 7, 8, 9, 10.
But maybe you go to like a steakhouse. Like maybe you eat like a nice piece of meat. You know what I mean?
Like a petite filet or something.
Yeah, get a petite filet, just for a petite lady. It's a maybe filet for a petite lady.
That feels like jumping in to have a big piece of a big hunk of steak sitting in my stomach. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you're a vegetarian or a pescatarian that has dipped a toe back into the meat pond, let me know. I still don't think I would ever go back to eating it like full time, multiple times a week. I think it would just be like a once in a while thing.
I talk about this with MJ because MJ got pulled back in because of the kids, and then chicken nuggets. Chicken nuggets is what ended up getting them back into it.
Chicken nuggets would never lure me back in.
Really?
I'm a former chicken nugget overdose victim. We just like were fed them so much that I haven't eaten those in years.
And you don't give them to the kids?
No, they do. Oscar eats them.
Right.
Oh, please. He's eating them as we speak for lunch at his summer camp.
I thought all children were like mostly like 85% chicken nugget.
He is for sure. I just like ate them too much and was like, I never want to have these again. It's like one of the foods that I had a tipping point on. Anyway,
I get it. I have that with peach schnapps.
I'm very interested. I think that, like everything else we talk about on this damn show, I think everything is a communication issue. And it's like, clearly the person that brought that up to you, it feels some type of way about getting any kind of feedback on their cooking. And it could be possibly that they feel that they're doing all the cooking and that that's not something that they really agreed to. It's sort of just like roles they fell into. Or
the fact she doesn't like the way that the feedback is being given. Of like, I mean, she could be cooking. Like there was that level of well, it sounds like you really want her to be also cooking. That's what it sounds like, dude. But I just want to say I appreciated the in the wild. Like I was stopped at a con and this was put at me. Like someone recognized me from the con and was like, I've got a who's the bee for you. And she was saying this in front of her wife. So I just want to say shout out to you.
The wife was there.
Yes, I didn't recognize it at the time. I kind of just wrote down these 3 lines of what she had said to me. So I just want to say kudos go out to you. Thank you so much for recognizing me, for hitting me. You know, if you see me in the wild, hit me with a bee in the wild. I can take it. I can take it.
You see me out there, hit me with a bee in the wild.
Hit me with a bee in the wild, dude.
But in the meantime, let's dive into our solicited advice for this week, my lady.
I love it.
Let's get into this first one. Will you read?
Ready?
Jackie, will you please read this?
Yes, of course.
You got
From Lola, she, her. Hello, Kara and Jackie. I love you both so much, and the podcast brings me life. This is a long story, so I'll get right into it. I have an old bitchuation for you. This is drama from years ago that still creeps into my thoughts every once in a while, and I can't seem to let it go. So I thought I'd bring it to the experts. It requires some backstory, so please bear with me, and I'll try to be concise. Hold, I need to take a sip. Yeah, the coffee is what's going to make my voice better, right? In my early 20s, I was in a long, tumultuous, on-again, off-again relationship with my ex, Jerry, after we met at art school in 2008. He was intensely jealous and controlling, emotionally and verbally abusive, and was constantly blowing up and accusing me of looking at, flirting with, or even thinking about other guys, despite the fact that I never cheated on him. He was never physical with me, but the cruel, demeaning things he'd say to me were really damaging. As you do when you're an art student, I used Jerry as a model for several paintings and drawings in school. One very sweet portrait I painted of him when we were together turned out well, and he used it as his profile picture on Facebook for a while. During one of our off-again periods, he even used it as his OkCupid dating profile, passing it off as his own artwork with the caption self-portrait, which I found hilariously pathetic. After I finally left him for good for you, he was dead to me, and I blocked him on basically everything. Then, years later, 2018, I found out he was using my painting online again, this time in an Instagram post. I was furious. To my mind, he had no right to keep flaunting my painting after all the trauma he put me through when we were no longer even on speaking terms. Since I still had the painting sitting in the back of a closet, I did what any reasonable person would do and took it outside, filmed myself power sanding his face off the canvas, and posted the video as an Instagram story. My profile was private, so the story was only visible to friends, but I wanted to make a point. to our mutual friends and to the universe that this was my painting, not Jerry's, and we did not end on good terms. I wanted everyone to see that I hated his guts, frankly, because the thing is, we had a lot of mutual friends at school, and I don't think anyone ever knew how bad things were between us or what a monster he could be. Most of them are still friends with him to this day, and it's always made me feel crazy that no one knows what he's really like. They know the performatively woke, good guy version of himself he likes to show, not the cruel, misogynistic person I knew. So this story was my way of making my feelings of him clear. Now, I know my ex is the bitch, but here's my real bitchuation, okay? A year and a half after my post, my ex emailed me saying he'd run into one of our mutual friends from college, Albert, and Albert had shown him my face sanding story. Apparently, it was still saved in Albert's phone because he had been messaging with someone about it back when I originally posted it. My ex was upset that I'd posted about him publicly, worried about his reputation. Whatever, dude, deal with it. I didn't really care about Jerry's feelings about it, but I felt betrayed that Albert had gone out of his way to show my post to the one person I'd intentionally blocked from seeing it. Albert and I actually had been fairly close in school, I thought, certainly closer than he was with Jerry, and he had witnessed some disturbing moments, including once running into us in the middle of a sobbing fight and one incident at a party where Jerry physically attacked another friend, pinning him to the ground and choking him. I never explicitly told Albert about the abuse in our relationship, so I don't expect him to have known the full story. But it hurts that he must have seen the red flags and still chose to bring up the post with my clearly volatile ex instead of ever asking me what had happened to make me so mad. I don't really understand what his motivation could have been besides stirring up drama. So, is Albert the bitch for showing my story to my ex? Or should I just accept that it's not safe to share my personal life online, and once I post something, even privately, it's out of my hands? And am I a bitch for hanging on to so much anger over my ex after all this time? Should I be a huge bitch and confront Albert even though it's been years? Would love to hear your take on it. Thanks for making me laugh uncontrollably at my desk at work every week. Please never stop.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
well,
gosh.
I did what anybody would do. I power sanded his face off of the canvas.
His face off. I love love this. Love this.
I love that you power sanded his face off of the canvas. And I think that was probably a very cathartic, moment for you, no matter what. But choosing to post it to social media, even if your account is private, it is still out there. Right? You don't know the motivations and the goings on of even the 40 people who follow you, 100 people who follow you or whatever, you just don't know. So I do think it can't be expected unless you did some kind of disclaimer that said, please don't share this outside of this. Like you put it on close friends to 20 people and you say, please don't share this. But
why is it bad
annoying.
That he knows about it?
It is annoying because if it's a story, it's supposed to be up for 24 hours.
But also,
so for somebody to download it, it's like they wanted to talk about it with other people.
Well,
so I don't think Albert's not totally in the wrong here because he took something off your social with the intent to share it with other people somehow.
It is
right?
kind of crazy because usually when you share an Insta story and the way in which that they're talking about Albert had shared it, right? That we were talking about it with someone, so I was able to bring it back up. Usually the story goes away though, and you're not able to see it afterwards, which would mean that Albert had downloaded it, right?
Yes.
So that is already a little bit of a weird thing for sure. But I guess, and I just asked the question and I do wonder, why is it bad that Jerry sees the video? I genuinely, why is it bad that Jerry sees it so that he knows that that he's using the freaking painting that you made I would want Jerry to know that he's using the painting that you made all those years ago. And I feel like part of me is that, like, I don't even think Albert's the bitch. I feel like, thank you, Albert. Show Jerry that you know. I think that he should know. He should be ashamed and he should take down the freaking painting because it's not a self-portrait. And now I feel like in Jerry's brain, he's come up with the idea that, like, oh, this has been mine and I've gotten away with this pretending to be mine for such a long time. He doesn't deserve that. I'm glad he saw it. Sand his face off of it.
You said, like, he showed my post to the one person I'd intentionally blocked from seeing it. How does Albert know that? Like, he can't know that. And
he
also,
probably didn't know
like,
that.
The moments that happened with you guys in art school are obviously crystal clear in your memory because they were happening to you. But like Albert walking in on fights with you guys 10 years prior or however many years prior, like, he might just like not be, like you said, this guy has a lot of other people fooled. Jerry has people fooled. Like, Albert, if you have not had an explicit conversation with Albert over how much this guy abused you and how horrible you feel about him and how if you had that conversation with Albert and then he went and did this,
that would
I would
be
say
different.
It warrants a conversation with Albert. But
you're right.
I think I think your memories of this are obviously,
which are valid.
Like,
I just think you haven't shared
and
them.
They're just like, that's just not how everyone will remember college. Like, I think back on stuff that happened in college and I'm like, wow, that was incredibly messed up and I probably should have done something about that. Like, I saw that couple fighting and I never did anything about it. Like, I was 19, you know what I mean? Like,
and I didn't know what to do.
We just weren't we weren't all in, like, I don't know that everybody knew what was going on with everybody to that degree. Like, I've had friends say, oh yeah, that relationship was actually terrible. And I'm like, I didn't even
had no idea
clock that and you never told me, you know? And so I would just be a little bit more, I guess, forgiving of like what you assume Albert knew is all I'm saying.
Yes. And not that I am speaking of you and your situation, but when we are younger, I feel like a lot of us see each other in relationships acting ways that are not the greatest, because I feel like when you're young, you are figuring out how to navigate a relationship for the first time and trying to learn, because like we were all taught from boomers that either like silent treatment or screaming or hitting. And a lot of us were taught not the proper ways in which to emotionally communicate, that I feel like a lot of us also saw each other acting like that back then. But like you were saying, Kara, we didn't know how to stop it. I didn't know what to do about it. Like that it was, and you think, oh, maybe that was just an over dramatic moment. Because we also, if you remember in college, I think that I could speak for a lot of us, or at least that time period of your life, it's very high stress. It's very high emotions. It's figuring out life for the first time. And all of us are not great at it out the gate. And I do feel that you're right, Kara, that it is putting a lot on what Albert had seen and put together if you had never talked to him about it.
Because if it wasn't Albert, it could have been any of your followers. Like that,
right.
Unless you keep your social media following so tight that it's like just your 25 best friends, like it could have been anybody that kind of knows him and is like, oh my gosh, look at this like video she did of like post of what's going on there. You know, like granted, pretty much anybody that's showing it to him is trying to stir up drama.
Of course.
I think it's the audacity of Jerry to call you up and act like he didn't understand why you did that, or it is wild to me. Is that what happened? Right?
It is the fact that Jerry,
and he's worried about his reputation. Oh, okay. But you don't care about him, and that's good.
But also, Jerry, you've been lying about making this portrait for how many years at this point? Yeah, your reputation should be a little torn asunder. Because if you're lying about that, what else are you lying about, Jerry?
That is deeply loser behavior.
Things.
It is deeply loserish behavior to say self-portrait about something you didn't paint. People are going to find out you didn't paint that. Also, I do think that you are holding on to a lot of anger over your ex, and rightfully so. And I don't think you're a B for that.
No,
I think you need to figure out a way to process
babe.
it.
I think that, yes, we get into therapy.
I hope if you're not, like, never think that there's something that's like too old to bring up to a therapist if you are currently in therapy, and just say, there's something I'd like to go through, and it's like this really volatile relationship that I had in college, and you might think, oh, I'm a totally different person now and I'm totally past it. But like, I do think that a lot of this, the reason why this is still lingering in your life is that you're not over all of the hurt that this guy put you through. And I think you need to process it. And that doesn't mean reaching out to him or talking to him in any way.
No, it
but
means
like working on it with a professional, and like you getting to a place where he just like doesn't hold any space in your head or heart anymore. You know,
because he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve that space anymore. This is a pathetic piece of garbage that we shouldn't even, he shouldn't even be on our radar anymore. But I understand when we're traumatized, of course, this stuff is going to keep coming back up. We gotta work on this for you to get past, because Jerry is a piece of trash that does not deserve your brain space anymore.
But that's a really good question, Jackie, as to why our writer, did not want Jerry to see it. Why do we care? Why do you care about him seeing it? Like,
but
you're
also
sending him a message.
Or is it that also...
Otherwise, you would have just done it for yourself and you wouldn't have posted it.
But it also, I think it does show more of the unprocessed fear and trauma that you have with this guy, that like, are you still scared of him? Which would make complete sense. Which also goes to show that we need to dig deeper into this, because he does not deserve to have that power over your brain anymore.
Yeah.
And shake out that piece of garbage, okay? He doesn't deserve to be here anymore.
And also, I think it's okay to also be, I think it's like, I don't know, maybe you're not friends with as many of your art school friends or whatever, but I think it's okay for you to also tell your friends like, hey guys, I don't know if I maybe never mentioned this, but like Jerry was truly horrific to me when we were in art school, and maybe he's changed or whatever, but I'm not like, I'm sort of not over that. So like, please don't like, you know, I just want everyone to be aware that like, he's not this good guy that you all think he is. But I don't know the actual dynamics of like who you hang out with that still hangs out with him. But if anybody does, I would definitely think it's never too late to let them know like what kind of person you think he is.
For sure.
Okay, let's get to our first voicemail.
Thank you for calling Who's the Bitch. Tell us in the voicemail who's the bitch. Beep. Hi. You guys are awesome. I'm going to get into it because I'm spiraling.
Oh.
Okay. So my family, I have two kids, a 6-year-old son with like crazy ADHD and a 9-month-old baby. We've been dealing on and off with recurrent MRSA skin infections, which have been popping up between me and the kids. So what's happening now is that my mom is supposed to come from across the country to visit and go on a little vacation with us for my oldest son's birthday. We've already told him that she's coming. He's super excited. And now the germaphobe in her is saying she might not want to come because of this MRSA infection that has been going around in our household. It's something that, you know, we've been disinfecting the whole house. Okay. The chance of her catching is slim. And if she were to catch something, we're talking like a small infection on the skin, the chance of it becoming like a pneumonia like she's scared of is extremely slim. She's going back and forth about whether she wants to cancel her trip. And I'm just so frustrated because I work in medicine, animal medicine, but still we deal with this. And I know this is not the big deal that she says it is. And yet, if I have to try to convince her of it, I don't want her to come and be scared and anxious the whole time because she's a huge germaphobe. And like, we're disinfecting the house, but I mean, I got 2 kids home all summer on mat leave, a whole acreage to take care of, emergency cases that I'm still going into work for as a vet. Like, it's not a petri dish or in the house, but it's also not like a sanitized, you know, perfect aseptic environment. Yeah. So am I being the bitch for being annoyed? Is she being the bitch for canceling the trip, even though it's low risk, or is just like anxiety the bitch? Because my husband's telling me I got to calm down. And Yeah.
Ooh.
Thank you. I love you guys.
Oh,
And then she actually left a follow-up voicemail that
Ooh.
just said, just wanted to add, it's not just about the trip. She's supposed to come down for 2 weeks. And during that time, my husband's supposed to fix our roof that's been leaking for several months. We have no family, all our families across the country. So I'm really relying on a little bit of assistance from her. So I guess it makes it slightly higher stakes, I guess, but it's still not a huge deal. I know.
I will throw it out
bye.
there. Anytime, I'm going to say a husband just says you need to calm down. I think that is just overall the husband is the bee. I think that just pulling that out of the situation. Anytime you hear, how about you calm down? Does that not ignite the power of 1,000 suns? Oh, I need to calm down.
I know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have 2 children and everyone's got the MRSA skin infections. And my mother saying that. Oh, and I need to calm down. Oh, I need to calm down. Thank you so much, husband, for saying that I need to calm down.
I used to have a stand-up joke that was like, has anybody's husband ever told them to relax? And then they were like, yeah. And then I ran for Congress and, here I am. Like it just has, is there ever been a great story about a husband saying relax and it working out?
You need to calm down.
But here's the thing to this caller really quick. Right when I started listening to this call, I just quickly Googled the MRSA infection.
Yes.
And it does say in the first overview, which I realize the AI overviews of these things are BS most of the time. I hate AI so much, but just for the sake of speed right now, it says it's highly contagious and resistant to many antibiotics. And then right under complications, it says severe infections. If it enters the bloodstream, lung, bones, or joints, it can cause pneumonia, bloodstream infections, sepsis. I'm not saying I believe you when you say that the chances of those things happening are very slim.
Because you
but
know
I
better
do believe
than we
that
would
if your
know.
mother Googled that and was like, oh, what? It's resistant to antibiotics.
She's probably
and it
very
literally
scared.
could give me pneumonia and all these things. And assuming your mom is older, I am 100% with you that when you have 2 kids and your kids are we can hear them in the background.
You can hear
I'm
them
sure
in the
they're a handful.
background.
You've got a spirited older one and then you've got a tiny one. You are in the freaking thick of it. And I know people say that. People used to say that to me all the time when my kids were maybe 1 in 3 people are like, whoa, you're in the thick of it. I was like, thanks, that helps. But I get it. You're really in it. And it's you just want for
Help.
2 weeks your mom to come and freaking help you. And I understand that, but I also totally do understand being I don't want to go to a house where everybody has a skin infection. And even though my daughter, who's a health professional, is telling me this, I do still believe the things I'm reading on the internet that it could lead to something bad. So, and again, you're saying, you don't want to pressure her to come and then have her be annoying the whole time and that's not helpful. No,
that's not gonna. That's gonna make you even more upset, I imagine, if she's there and not actually helping, because Kara, I'm going to say this as a child-free person that I think that, and I know that obviously this person's mother is not a child-free person, but they have not had small kids in quite some time. I think that parents of littles, and especially, or even just as they grow up, when your brain is so inundated with the kids and how much you have to get done, that when someone that is child-free is oh yeah, that's actually kind of yucky, and I feel every parent is I don't have fucking time for you
to be grossed
tell
out.
me that it's yucky. My life is yucky. I feel there is that where sometimes parents kind of forget that people that don't deal with the children don't deal with that. And so when we hear about it, we're and we have to do what? And then do what? And I understand it's the forever issue between child-free and child-having people, And,
no, because it's disgusting. I mean, my kids have had hand, foot, and mouth. They've had worms. They've had the most disgusting stuff. And
that's what being a parent is.
And I definitely, because I'm in it right now, if you asked me to come to your house, I'd be oh yeah, sure. I just took my whole family to North Carolina for spring break when my sister-in-law said, my nephew's puking. And she told me her son was puking, who is my nephew. And I go, well, what are we going to do? We bought the tickets. We went down there. Guess who started puking? My daughter, then my son. Then I started not feeling good. Then my mom got it. Then my dad got it. We all just went and everybody got it. And it sucked, but we had the tickets and we just did it. Again,
but if you had told me this, I'd be like, how about we figure out a different time?
Right.
But that's because I have the freedom of being by myself. I don't want MRSA. I don't want to be puking. I would just...
And I think that just feels a little harsher when it's your mom and you were waiting for the help. You wanted the help. And you should feel... You have every right to be frustrated. You really do.
You do.
You really do.
Completely.
But I also think the two things that can be true are that you have every right to be frustrated that she's going to cancel, but she has every right to put her health and say, I don't actually want a painful infection on my skin, even if it's not going to cause me pneumonia. Because it is contagious and she could get it, I do think the best thing to do is to wait for everyone to dry out before anyone comes to visit the house.
Because you need her to touch the kids. Because if she is there and is just is that not going to make you even more filled with anger, right, Kara? If your mom came to help and then wouldn't touch the kids because she didn't want to get MRSA, you know what I mean? I feel that I would rather, can we pick up this whole, now thank goodness a lot of flights and a lot of airlines will just let you change the flight to a different time. And if it's far enough away, you either can save money or it should be the same amount of money. I would pick it up. And I know and your husband's supposed to work on the roof and the roof is leaking and that needs to get done. But it's just, I think, better probably for everybody if you could pick it up and just move it to another couple of weeks, right, Kara?
Yes. But also, I feel also what I'm hearing in this call too is you're just overwhelmed.
Of course you are.
You're home all summer on your maternity leave with 2 kids. Your 6-year-old's not in school.
And the birthday parties, it's just...
Yeah. Is there a possibility of getting your son even into a partial day camp or something where I'm sure you've thought of everything because you are a parent and I'm sure you're thinking of everything, but if there's just a way where you can give yourself a little bit more time.
Yes.
Your husband picks up something, maybe you and a neighbor can swap where they take your kid for a half a day. So you get some time and then you take their kid another time. So you at least get some solid chunks of being able to get some stuff done and get what feels to you like relief. I know it's not going to be the same as having a mother come and give you 2 weeks of full help, but it feels like you need some reprieve right now and you need a little bit of help. You've got a lot going on and I don't know your situation, so I can't figure out what these different things would be, but I would talk to your husband and be I think the reason I'm freaking out about my mom so much is I'm overwhelmed and what can we do to get your older kid into some activities or out of the house or something so that you have a little bit, whether it's me time, whether it's time to get the things done you need to get done, whatever, you need to try to figure out some of that in the interim that your mom is probably canceling this trip.
Yes. Because also, honestly, unfortunately, where your husband is right that you need to calm down, you're right. But he needs to help you then to relax is what it is.
But these kids with these freaking skin infections, they ruin everything. I mean, my anniversary a few years ago, I had tickets to go see Nico Case out at this cool venue in Joshua Tree. I was so excited. We had a hotel. We had a babysitter staying overnight with our kids. I looked down at Rosie's arm. I go, what the hell is that? My mom goes, I just sent my mom a picture. She goes, that's hand, foot, and mouth, baby. You're not going anywhere. So
my God.
They just cause problems and cancellations and everything everywhere, and like I said, you could also do the dive in where everybody ends up puking.
Where everybody gets it and you just do it. And I feel it's at that point, is there, you're talking to a mother, but it's do you have any siblings? Do you have any somebody that could come in and be you know what? ready to get bumpy, bitch. You know,
just
put me in. All
like,
right,
I
ready
understand.
to go.
It's like your roof has been freaking leaking. I'm sure that's really frustrating.
Yeah, and then you're like, and your job and being on maternity leave, and it's like everyone knows that anyone that has been on maternity leave, it's not easy. It's not like, oh, they just let you go be a mommy. No, you're fielding questions from work. You're having to deal with the 6-year-old. You've got the 9-month-old. You're at your capacity, and it's time for mom to get some help.
So let's talk to your mom about maybe how you could move it, and also,
or could she maybe does she have some money that she could help
forever? It's only going to be a little longer.
I'm just saying that maybe if it's a financial situation, that maybe that like, well, if mom can't come, can mom then help? Like, here's some money to grab a babysitter. Here's some money to help with something like that.
I don't. Yeah,
just
you never
something.
know.
I feel like this is akin to the top of the show, the person that asked the question, where it's like this. We're seeing through the question that you're asking, and you need help from somebody, and you need you need help right now.
And I don't know how old your mom is. But like older people do freaking get crazy things, and then it develops into something else, and you're like,
into other things.
Oh, nobody thought that would be a problem, because like I don't know, the immune systems do. I don't know how old your mom is. My mom's pretty old, so I would not be wanting her to.
I'd be nervous
because I know if it was my mom, if she got that, it would turn into something else. But let us know how it goes.
Please.
And I hope that you can find some relief and that your mom can reschedule her trip to a time where she can like truly be of help and you guys can get a lot done with like your roof and everything. But also take it easy on yourself.
Yes.
You have a lot to do, and like just getting through every day is an accomplishment with 2 kids on summer break and maternity leave. Geez.
Could you put your husband on this and be like, figure this out with my mother? I'm not figuring it out. Go figure out a better time. You're the one that has to work on the roof. She's the one that has to come here. Figure it out. Just saying.
Maybe. Okay, let's get to our next email. Dear Kara and Jackie, hello from the UK.
Oh.
I'll be reading this email in an accent now.
Oh no.
I love you both. Just kidding. I love you both, and I've been listening to the pod since episode 1. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your witty advice always brightens up my long commute to work. Gorgeous. Here's my bitchuation. I started dating my boyfriend in December of 2025.
Okay.
We had a couple of dates before Christmas and really hit it off. One of the first things we talked about was my desire to apply to a very prestigious university in the UK to do my master's degree. He was very on board and said that he admired my drive and willingness to pursue my passions.
Love it.
Long story short, over the Christmas break, I applied to the master's program and got in. I was very excited, and it felt like a massive achievement and the fulfillment of a lifelong goal. Congratulations.
Congrats.
He was really happy for me at first, until he wasn't. The first red flag was a text his mom sent when she found out that I'd gotten in, which read, "Tell her congratulations from us. Not good news for you, though." I thought this was odd, but brushed it off as a motherly concern. However, a few weeks later, we had a conversation and he admitted that he had no desire to try and do long distance, as it was, quote, too hard for him, and that he needed to have a long, hard think about our relationship. For context, the university is about 2 hours from where we currently live. And although I'd have to live in the university city to study, I'd be returning every few weeks to see family and friends, and him, of course.
It's 2 hours away.
We left it at that and didn't speak about it until this week. We are now 7 months into the relationship, and I felt that with the term starting in October, we needed to have another chat. He started off saying that he'd come visit me often and we'd explore the new city. But then he changed his tune. When I expressed how often I'd be coming back to our hometown anyway, he said that he, quote, didn't want me to do that, and that I should, quote, embrace the experience and not jeopardize my fun by visiting all the time. He went even further, saying that he had a mind to break up with me now to avoid heartbreak down the line, expressing that he still had no desire to do long distance. When I pressed him on the issue, he said that it wasn't about cheating or anything like that, but that he has poor object and emotional permanence and would simply not communicate properly if I wasn't close by. Implicated, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Is he a golden retriever? I didn't realize.
Hold on, let me finish. Implying that he'd basically forget I existed and treat me poorly. I'm autistic and have struggled with this in the past, but I make a concerted effort to reach out to friends who aren't close by, as I know I can be guilty of forgetting about them when they're not in the same city as me. I gave it to him straight and said that if you love someone enough, you should be willing to try long distance, even if it's uncomfortable and difficult at times. I also pointed out that it's not realistic that we're always going to be in the same place all the time, and that one of us would probably end up traveling for work in the future. Also, 2 hours just isn't that far in my opinion.
No.
He said it's not about loving me enough and that he loves me plenty, but long distance just isn't realistic for him. We sort of left it in this weird limbo state where neither of us have made a decision, but it just feels really rubbish for me knowing that by pursuing a dream, I might lose someone I love. I'm pretty sure long distance is the bitch, but let me know what I should do. Lots of love, Jay. Jay, this is barely long distance. I mean, if you lived in New York City or you're from the UK, if you live in certain parts of London, it probably takes an hour to get to another part of London. We're only talking about 2 hours here.
2 hours away.
You could both drive an hour to meet each other for a date, once in a while. Like, I just don't think this is that big of a thing, especially when you know that there's an end to it. So I think we need to really talk about whether this guy is in love, because if he was in love with you, he'd be like, we'll make this work. We'll at least try it. We'll at least try it. If you start to try it, if you try it and you're like, it's leading to fighting, it's leading to jealousy, it's leading to us growing apart, we don't know what the other one's doing. Then you take that as it comes.
Yeah.
You don't just say, I'm not even willing to try it. I don't think you want to be with somebody who, like Jackie says, object permanence is something you learn when you're a child. And men that don't have it need to work on that.
Yeah, that's why peekaboo doesn't work for us anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you also peekaboo at him and he doesn't know who you are? Like, there's just, I would be so frustrated at the fact that he's not even willing to give it a try. And don't get me wrong, I understand like not wanting to set someone up for failure and to say like, oh, this might be difficult for me. You're right. Long distance is difficult. And also I understand that here in the US, we see long distance differently also because we live in a much bigger country. So we are used to having more space in between. In fact, we talk about this all the time. When we go on tour, we talk to people that are used to driving 9 hours just to see a concert. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, people would come see us on tour and be like, we drove 6 hours
just to see
and I'd
you.
be like, to see us? Like, but where I live, like I wouldn't drive that far. But for some people, they're like, that's what we do.
Right. And I just feel like this person is already like, can't do it. Nope, couldn't possibly do it.
They're just not thinking about you. They're only thinking about themselves.
Is that the kind of person you want to set up a life with? Like, is that someone that you want to? Because here's the thing. When you're in a marriage, the one thing that is a constant, it is change. And it is learning how to navigate things together as a team. That is part of being in a relationship. And when you both choose, especially in a monogamous relationship, especially in a long distance monogamous relationship, that is a choice every day that you are choosing. And what I'm hearing from this dude is that he doesn't want to put in the effort to even try to make himself, because it sounds like you're right. Long distance, it's uncomfortable. It kind of sucks. You have to try new things. You have to be vulnerable. But in 2026, there are so many ways for us to stay in
honestly,
contact with each other.
FaceTime.
Yes. It's just, there's
texting. There's so many ways.
Also, it's your masters. This is not forever. This is also a certain amount of time. If the fact that at the jump is something that he's not willing to do, that's not somebody I would really want to start a life with.
Unfortunately, like I'm sorry to
and that sucks.
Say that. That sucks because it sounds like you love this person, but it's been 7 months and I honestly don't want you to waste like a lot of time on someone who's not even willing to give this a chance. I mean, also him just casually saying, I've got half a mind to break up with you. Like,
that's
what?
So weird. That's such a weird
that's
threat.
A weird thing to just say to someone that you love.
Then go ahead and break up with me.
He says he loves you plenty. He doesn't love you plenty if he's not willing to make this. He loves himself more.
Exactly. Because Kara, also a part of being in a relationship is both of you growing and both of you growing in different ways, but hopefully in the same forward motion direction, right? And right now, this is a huge, and maybe this was too much of a transition for him right from the jump. And like, then bye. We don't have time for you because you're working on your life. You're bettering yourself. Don't you want someone that's going to be by your side that supports you as you better yourself, to help you navigate and to say, no matter what, we're going to figure this out and I'm going to be there for you? That's what you want. We don't settle for anything less. I know it's 2026 and a lot of the people I talk to out there, they're like, you don't know how hard it is. But still, we don't deal with someone like that because this isn't going to be the only time that he's choosing himself in the duality of you. Because he's choosing himself right now. And that's not what we have time for.
Like, he's tried this before with other girlfriends and it hasn't worked out. Like, they're not you. So I just think this
is a different situation.
I think it's like, you need to go do your degree and fulfill your dream. And that's amazing that you got into this prestigious thing. And honestly, I think you're going to find somebody maybe there. That is more aligned with you. And, you know,
or somebody that's just someone that supports you. This is someone that is not supporting you right now.
Yeah, like, I would rather see you break up with this person and go do your degree. And let's say you move back to your hometown. But if you don't, you're literally tethering yourself to this, what sounds like, even if he does give it a try, it sounds like it's going to be like a lot of fighting and a lot of like him not communicating in the right way because he's not even willing to give it a shot to start. So it's going to be you, instead of being able to focus on your studies, knowing that you're fully supported by a partner back home, you're going to be like studying while also being like, he hasn't texted me back in 3 days. Like, what's going on? Like, you don't need that.
Can we also think about the manipulation tactic? And yes, I am using the phrase manipulation tactic because you're so right when you said the first red flag was a text his mom sent him when she found out that I'd gotten in, which means that he forwarded the entire text that read, "Tell her congratulations from us, not good news for you though." Why did he forward that whole text? Why couldn't he just
forward it?
I mean, I'm assuming because she knows it says, "Tell her congratulations from us, not a good news for you though."
I thought she read it like off his phone or something.
I'm just assuming the fact that he at least showed her the entire thing, right? When he could have just said, "My mom says congratulations." And I feel like including these kind of things in the same field of, if I had a right mind, I'd leave you. I think that including those little things and letting her know those little things are all little ways of like, but we all wish you weren't doing this. Meanwhile, you said from the jump that you were going to be applying to this master's program. You never lied to him about what you were doing. You never were like mysterious or surreptitious about your dreams and your goals. And he should be alongside you. And if not, we ain't got time for that shit. We ain't got time for it.
And just the way that he's going, oh no, don't come back and visit a lot.
Don't come back and visit a lot.
Have your fun.
No, go.
That is like, to me, a backhanded way of acting. That's a backhanded way of acting like you're a nice guy that doesn't want to take away from your good time. But really, he just doesn't have the balls to say, like, I'm like immature and I'm not going to be able to like focus on you if you're not right in front of me. And you can't have a life with somebody like that forever, because you're right. I don't know what your master's is in, but what if you get an amazing opportunity over in the States the year after that for 6 months? Can he stay with you then?
And I know
what about if down the road you get to do something in Africa? Can he stay with you then? Like, I just don't think that this is good. And if I think if I were you, I would break it off with this guy. I think he's the B.
It's just like, as someone that I also have difficulty texting someone back, you know, like, sure, everyone has difficulties with seeing something if they're not around. That's such a silly thing to be like, yeah, well, if you're not around, I'm just not going to think about you. You know, that's such then I guess you don't deserve me then.
Yeah.
You should be thinking about me when I'm not around.
5-year-olds remember you when you're not around.
Yeah. Peekaboo. Peekaboo, I'm gone, bitch.
Okay. Let us know what happens, and good luck with your degree. It's going to be an amazing experience, I think. Let's do our next voicemail.
Thank you for calling Who's the Bitch. Tell us in the voicemail who's the bitch. Beep. Hi, Jackie and Kara. Thank you for taking my call, and thank you for making this show everything that I need it to be. I look forward to this day every week. I appreciate you guys. So my small bitchuation is that I am bisexual as a general term, and I don't really feel like I need to disclose that to certain people. But when certain people make comments, I get really fucking irritated. And so I don't know if I'm being the bitch. Let me give you the two most recent examples on this, the Lord's Pride Month.
Oh, this is from June.
I'm going through some medical stuff, and it stops me from being able to do things like get tattoos or get piercings. My brother, great guy, great ally. He's got gay friends, so we know he's all right. And he's visiting me while I'm going through this medical stuff, and I was driving in the car, and he asked me how I'm doing, and I'm like, I'm all right, but man, if I'm going through anything, like, I always like to just get a tattoo. When times get hard, sometimes you just gotta snap one on your arm and get it over with. But I digress. I make a comment to him like, man, I hate that I can't get any piercing because I've been really wanting to get my septum pierced. And he laughs and he laughs and he says, okay, girl, Bristol, let's just leave that to the bisexuals. That's their thing. Let's leave it to them. And I just, first of all, was shocked because I could have sworn that he had picked up on the fact that I'm not straight, but maybe not. For context, I am female presenting, identify as female, married to a man, and have a kid. So I've never publicly dated a woman or anyone of a different sex. So I get that there's some like common assumptions that could be made, but I feel like it's kind of bitchy to assume my sexuality. So my brother makes this comment and I just didn't know how to respond because honestly, I was just so shocked at the fact that he thought I was straight. And I don't feel like I need to break down my sexuality and the kind of people that I have or have not slept with or would not sleep with and things like that. Like, I just didn't want to have to break it down, so I don't say anything. But I'm like fuming, and this was like 4 months ago, and I'm still thinking about it, and I'm not fuming anymore. Maybe I'm sizzling down because I'm the bitch for not outing myself sooner, but like, I just don't like that they're making an assumption. So the other situation where a comment really irritated me and made me feel like they're being bitchy, but again, maybe it's just me being butthurt for no reason, but my coworker is non-binary, and I asked them something the other day, and they are like, oh, are you going to the Pride event this weekend? And I start to say, oh, I start to say whatever. So I start to respond, and they're like, oh, wait, never mind. I forgot. You were straight. I almost forgot there for a minute. Ha, ha, ha. Again, like making a joke. And I guess it's the laughing that fucking pisses me off because I'm like, who are you to say that I am or am not straight? I know we're at work in the lobby of this nice bank, and I don't want to have to break down my sexual preferences to you here, and I don't feel like I need to. But I do feel like that's not an okay comment. And I'm getting worked up again because I just wish I had said something in the moment. I mean, I did. I was like, wait, so allies can't go to Pride? And they're laughing and they're like, no, I mean, they can go to Pride, but you normally have to be with a gay person to enjoy Pride. And I'm like, but I am the gay person. I'm like, but I went, and I said to them, but I went last year to Pride. Remember, I met you there. I met up with you there. And they're like, oh, well, that's because you went with your friend Abby, who's gay.
Whoa!
And I'm like, but you don't know the situation was that I didn't want to go alone, so I invited my gay friend Abby, and it didn't have anything to do with needing a little gay puppy to take with me to the Pride Parade because I'm bi, and it's just not fair that people make assumptions. And I just feel like breaking down my sexuality to my coworker in the middle of work or my brother, like, I don't want to have to explain my sexual escapades. But maybe if I don't want to do that, then I'm not allowed to be upset that they're making assumptions I'm straight. I don't know. Who's in the wrong here?
Oh my God. Annoying. That's for damn sure. so annoying. It's the laughter. It's definitely the laughter that would piss me off. I completely understand, but I am gonna throw this out there. We got to be talking about, I know we don't have to justify our sexuality. We do not. I think it's very weird for a friend to be like, why you want to go to the Pride Parade? Also, fucking none ya business what my sexuality is. But I also do feel that part of that, it does sound like that people don't know how you feel, which is completely okay. That is your sexuality. It is not up for anyone to know how you feel and who you want to kiss and who you want to be around. It is not for other people to know. But I will throw it out there that when those situations go on, and while it is not your demand to share those things, but it sounds like your brother doesn't know that you're bisexual. And it sounds like your coworkers don't know that you're bisexual. So I don't think that they mean it in a bad way. I do think that it is weird to say that all people can't enjoy and want to support Pride regardless of their sexuality. I do think that is I think it's a very silly thing to think. I think that it is also for everyone to be supporting each other in a community. But I understand, as someone that is a bisexual that is also married to a man, I understand that feeling and the hurt of people assuming your sexuality. But I do also usually, if someone assumes my sexuality, I was going to say I reprimand them, but that's not the word. I just usually say, well, I am bisexual. I do bring up the fact that I am a queer person, and while I understand your assumption, I'm a queer person, and I bring that into the conversation. While it's not, I don't need to inform people of that. I want people to know that I'm a queer person, and I will willingly share that because I have been hurt by people in the past and have gotten into big arguments because of such, and wanting, of people wanting to pull apart my sexuality when it's none ya business. But we have to talk about these things if people don't know, and you want people to know.
Yes. Like it's your identity because it is how you identify yourself. So like, you're mad that people are making assumptions, but then you're also asking some people like your brother to just pick up on things. And that's basically that those are assumptions or those are clues, right? Like that. So you're kind of like, if it's your brother, I would just tell him. I mean, it's not like a member of your family, if you don't want them to make comments and assume, because by your own admission, like you are engaging in many of the long-standing traditions of the straight community, such as being married to somebody of the opposite sex and having a child with them. So like, it's not crazy that people are assuming things, but like for your brother specifically, I would just be like, just so you know, I'm queer. Like I would like let him know. And then for coworkers,
I understand,
you either don't talk about that shit with coworkers or you do. You either don't talk about like stuff with coworkers or you don't. Like if you want to say to your coworkers, if you don't want your coworkers to know that you're queer, don't tell them. But then let them say whatever the hell they want about you because you're trying to keep that private and keep that separate part of your life. You know what I mean? But I don't think there would be anything wrong in just telling coworkers like, oh, and just so you know, like I am queer. Like, and if they try to like press you on it, just be like, I don't really like feel comfortable getting super into it. I do identify as queer. Like, I think that's fine. I think it sounds to me, and I'm just like going off of like kind of what you've said is like it feels like almost you feel a little bit like because you've never had a girlfriend or a public relationship with a woman that just because you've had maybe like hookups with women or something, that explaining that you're bi is like, you're going to have to get into all those details. And you don't. You can just be like, I'm bi. I just am attracted to women also. It doesn't matter whether, I honestly don't care if somebody identifies as bi and they've never let their lips touch the lips of someone of the same sex. I don't care if you ever even kiss someone. If that's how you identify and you want to identify as that, and
that's how you identify,
then that's it.
That's who you are.
Maybe the next person you're together, heaven forbid anything happens in your relationship with your husband, maybe the next person you're with is going to be a woman. It doesn't matter. That these are details that we don't need to get into. And it feels like you feel in some type of way because you've never had a public relationship that justifying your bisexuality to people would mean like counting off how many times you've made out with a woman or what you've done or like how far you've gone. Like none of that matters.
Right.
You know, I think I'm just saying that, you know?
And or I would understand feeling uncomfortable sharing the fact that you're queer with your brother because like he made the assumption that only bisexual people have septum piercings. And I understand like if it makes you uncomfortable in other ways, then I would understand that. But I do think you can't assume other people are going to just assume that you are bisexual then, unfortunately. But I get not wanting to share that information too, because it's a vulnerable thing to share with people.
But I would just like sort of, like have a conversation with yourself of like, who are the people that I want to know this about me and who are the people that I don't? And I just wouldn't engage. And honestly, the conversation about pride is insane. I'm a straight person. I'm a straight person who has made out with a woman before. Like I go to Pride stuff every year.
Yeah.
I am an ally. I love gay people. I have gay people in my family. I go to Pride. I think no one has ever had a problem with that.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone needs to say, well, you got to go to Pride with a person that's gay and you got to do this and that.
Yeah, it's
and
not like
allies
a
aren't
6
welcome unless
degrees
they're
of
with a gay person.
separation Kevin
None of that
Bacon
is real.
parade, you know?
I don't think any of that is real. And I think 99% of gay people would say that that's like not real. But yeah, just kind of figure it out with yourself, I think, how open you want to be about this.
Yes,
because
for sure.
Otherwise, I think you just have to kind of have a little, if you're just like, I don't want to talk about this with my coworkers, then just have a nice little laugh when they're laughing and being annoying and something's triggering you like that. Have a nice little internal laugh going, if only they knew, and they don't, and move on with your day.
Right.
You know?
Right. But I understand the
do?
frustration. Believe me,
Yeah.
I understand the frustration, especially the laughing. And I think that there is just that trigger of, I think a lot of us have been bullied before for many, many different things. And there's just something about somebody laughing about it that triggers you. And like that I
and
understand.
being like, you don't know me, like, but just think about how much you want this person to know you. And if you don't want them to, then you shouldn't really care about what they're laughing about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And try not to let it bother you because, you know.
That's hard though. I know.
Yeah.
I know it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. But with your brother, I would have a conversation about it because it's your like family member.
Yes. And
that doesn't mean you have to sit. Your brother isn't going to go, wait a minute, when did this happen? Like, you know, he's not going to go walk me through all the times you've been with a woman. Like, that's just not going to happen.
No.
And I just think you'll be okay. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for hitting us up. And please let us know if you end up sharing. I'd love to hear more about it. Because it is one of those things that I think that we just, in a similar fashion where nowadays I try to not assume anybody's sexuality. I try to not assume anyone's gender, but you know, we are still human beings and we make mistakes sometimes too. And I feel like even your coworker should at least be reminded that pride's for everybody. Also pride's for everybody.
Don't remember the last time I even was like saying,
you're not
that
allowed
person's
to be
straight
here.
or that person's
It made me feel like the Real Housewives of New York episode with the gay pride it made me think of that episode when they're like, you're not allowed to speak at Pride. You've never even talked to a gay person before or whatever they were screaming at each other about. But we don't need to talk about Real Housewives of New York right now. We need to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this week's episode of Who's the Bee? And also, if you want to get in your own, obviously, like I said, if you see us in the wild, you can hit us with a bee in the wild. We can take it. We can write it down. But for everything else, go to who'sthebitch.com to get in all of your submissions. You can write to us. You can leave us an email. You can leave us a voicemail. And also, don't forget to watch us, youtube.com/who'sthebee. Go watch us on film and go see all of my really overdramatic facial expressions every time I get upset. You know every single feeling that I have because it goes across my face. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And Kara, we miss you, baby.
I'll come home soon, baby. I'll be home soon, I promise.
Come on
Send
back
us
home.
updates. Send us updates on your stories. Also, if you've called in before and we've read your things, send us updates. We love to do an update episode. Also, follow us on our Instagram, subscribe to us on our YouTube, etc.
Yes.
We'll see you next week, bitchlings. We love you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.